on TikTok and gonna make my lunch and dinner or whatever we call it because it's time to eat. So I'm excited about that. I'm gonna make some cool stuff. I might make a kale salad. So that's what I'm gonna do. And so medical medium right here, gonna answer some questions. I'm live as we speak. I hope you guys come on. Got some lemon balm tea right here. I'd like to help answer a few questions. But I'm going to go on TikTok a little later and answer questions thoroughly, for sure. Don O'Brien said, hi, how do you feel about the Rife machine? Well, the Rife machine was around. Everybody was still sick. I remember for 35 years, being in this all these years, and it would be like, okay, we got another guessing game, another guessing game, another guessing game. The Rife machine was around. Everybody was sick. Everybody still had the chronic fatigue syndrome, and they had the Rife machine. Still had the chronic fatigue syndrome. Unless they knew how to do the right tools, like really clean up their diet just right, know what viruses to go after, truly know what they're doing, and know what supplements to take to go antiviral, to go antibacterial, to get the metals out too. And then they would make improvements, Rife machine or no Rife machine. But back in the Rife machine days, it was like, okay, Rife machine, what next? Everybody still stays sick. What next? That's what it was like. And the only difference you might get out of the Rife machine now is someone's actually maybe taking on a couple of medical medium tools out there, because that's what I've seen. I've seen people say, well, the Rife machine works for me. And then you look at what they're doing. What else are you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm doing some celery juice, or I'm doing some spirulina, or I'm making sure there's no gluten and dairy in here, or and you'll find out that as you gather it up, there's a lot of little medical medium tools all interspersed in there, and then if they're in the mood that they think the Rife machine might be helping, then they just call it the Rife machine. But I mean, years ago though, it's like everybody with the Rife machine, nobody got better. That's how it was. Good to be right here. Janie Woodall says, TikTok question mark? Yeah, TikTok today, live answering questions thoroughly on TikTok. Gonna make dinner too, medical medium dinner. I noticed you guys, I noticed you guys are talking about it lately as far as what I've been eating. You've been asking me for years, what does he eat? What is he gonna eat today? Like, does he walk the talk? Does he eat what's in his books? What does he do? And so I'm going to be making food. You guys have been noticing I made the roll-ups. So one day I made the roll-ups. Another day I made the roll-ups. Another day I made a salad. Another day I forgot what I made. I'm making kale today. Kale salad and some other stuff today too. And I might even juice some celery juice. You know what's funny, guys? I've seen comments lately where because the new videos that I'm doing on TikTok, like the cheese, butter, bread, that video there, and like the egg video on TikTok. So I'm getting all these, new people that haven't paid attention to medical medium information. They heard about medical medium, but they really haven't paid attention to it or anything. And then they're like leaving comments saying, hey, you should write a book, medical medium. You got some cool information. You should actually write a book. And it's funny because 6 New York Times best-selling books later, #1 New York Times best-selling author, millions of books around the world that have already reversed illness and disease in people, and the results are in. It's proven, and it's the funniest thing ever when you hear that. When you hear that in the comments section all the time, medical medium, you should write a book. It's actually funny. Tracy Phillips says, I was wondering about the ozone therapy as well. Back years ago, ozone therapy was still something that was going down back then, but it was all experimental. Still is, that's how it is. It's like, well, what do you do with ozone therapy? Do you breathe it in? And that's what happened in the original days back years ago. People were breathing it in, so they would actually do ozone therapy and breathe it in, and it wasn't a good thing that way, not that way. So I'm not a big fan of ozone therapy. I'm not saying it's bad right now. It's just I wouldn't use it as an inhalant. I wouldn't use it as a breath technique therapy where you're breathing it in on that level. I wouldn't do it. But I mean, I just wouldn't recommend that. I'm saying if your doctor wants to do that and that's what you want to do, I mean, just do what you're going to do. But I wouldn't recommend that. But ozone therapy, I'm not against it in some dentistry. I'm not against it in some other reasons too. Because the reason why I'm not against it so much with small applications of it, but when you're sensitive, it's a little edgy. And all the people that I've known and all the doctors I've talked to over the years that have wanted my help to troubleshoot their people, a lot of sensitive people, severe chronic fatigue syndrome, neurological problems, and ozone therapy was too harsh. So you got to apply it just right. It has to be in small settings, or small increments, small amounts for certain applications. I think I'll do a medical meeting podcast, an Apple podcast episode about it. So, just to air it all out, because there's a lot to cover right there. Tiffany says, what time on TikTok? Well, right from here, I'm going to Instagram Live for probably like 10 minutes. And then from there, I'm going right to TikTok Live. So that's what I'm going to do. Keep your notifications on. Make sure they're set so that you get notified. And then so so you can be there. So just look out. Or constantly check too, because constantly be like, is he on? Is he on? And check it out so you can catch it. So important to know. So I just saw a question about tinctures and teas. Would you explain the potency difference between teas and tinctures? You can get a lot more extracted from a tincture. You can take it in higher dosages if you need to, therapeutic wise, like 4 dropperfuls of a lemon balm 4 times a day versus tea. It's a little harder to extract. It's not as strong. You got to do a lot of it. There's a difference, but I love the tea. So what I do is I like recommending the Vimergy lemon balm. And so if I had it on me right here, I'd show you. You guys probably know the Vimergy, V as in Victor, Imergy. That's the lemon balm. So, you use that's what I would do. It's like someone's got anxiety. I would do like 4, 5 dropperfuls of that 3-4 times a day. Personally, that's what I would recommend a family member or a friend. And I talk about that also in Cleanse to Heal if you want to take a look at Cleanse to Heal. But the tea, it's harder to do that. I have the lemon balm tea here, but still, it's a great thing. Keep it in there the whole bit. Michelle L. The most truth gets the most haters. Yes, so true. And boy, this medical medium get a lot of hate. And guess what? Still standing. Still standing. All right. Discrimination. Lots of discrimination for hearing a voice. Lots of discrimination for getting people better over these years. Lots of discrimination for putting out 6 New York Times bestselling books with no PR and marketing. What you're going to hear out there all the time is he's got new marketers now. That's why he's doing these TikTok videos. Good marketing team, good PR and marketing. That's funny because I never had PR and marketing. It's only been done by me and me alone. As far as I decide what I'm going to do. I decide how I'm going to do it. I don't have any big PR marketing or marketing firm breathing down my neck. I don't hire a company. Never did. Isn't that crazy? Just could you imagine if I did? Could you imagine if I put millions of dollars into, like these people do out there, into like a big marketing firm? Can you imagine what medical medium information would be there? And look what it's doing now organically. Millions of books around the world. It's grassroots. Look, organically healed so many people without marketing and PR. And should I shortcut stuff and do the cheat game? Should I cheat and not have the integrity and hire the big PR marketing firms and just have them pay their way through so that something gets seen? Should I go the cheat way? No. I go the organic grassroots way. That's just the way I do it. Katie Adler said the haters were wild, laugh out loud. Oh, yeah. It's been like that for months and months. It's been like that for years, especially the last 6-8 months. Deanna D.A. Yeah. Haha, you should write a book. Yeah, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? You guys, I have a video coming out. I got a TikTok video coming out soon. I think it's going to come out tomorrow. And I think you're going to laugh at it. I think it's going to be pretty funny. Maybe you won't find it funny at all. But I worked on it. I worked on it last night hard. So yeah, you guys, it's pretty funny how it works. So Been talking all day, by the way. I've been talking all day since early this morning. And anyway, on TikTok, I'm going to make myself some dinner. That's what I'm going to do. Angelic marketers. I just saw a comment where I got angelic marketers. Vicky B, if you had marketing, Anthony, you wouldn't be doing lives in your kitchen. Just so you know, marketing firms have tried to bang down my door and said, how dare you do it alone? You're not allowed to do that. You better hire one of us. You know, marketing companies, they don't like knowing I got somewhere without them. And they would probably never let me do it in my own kitchen. They would probably never let me sit here in my kitchen talking crap. Oh, it's funny. It's funny. It's just that, I mean, look, I've always had people with chronic illness. I've always had their back. And it's about just being real, you know? Not saying you're being real, not that stuff. Because the marketing companies tell their clients to say be real and say this and that and whatnot, right? You know, that's what they do, too. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, people pay them like $1 million a month. I mean, stuff like that out there just to get their books seen, these, you know, fancy doctors and some, not all of them, but it's just crazy how it works. Christy May, what do I do with constant cold sores? Terrible. I don't want to go on Valtrex, but I have no choice. I feel I do lysine, eat fruit, greens all day, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and even lettuce, spinach. Nothing bad. Question mark. So you're doing that. You're not doing the nutritional yeast, right? That can easily stimulate a cold sore. You're not doing the apple cider vinegar, right? Just making sure. You're not doing chocolate, right? Did you do chocolate 2 weeks ago? Did you do chocolate 3 weeks ago? Did you have cacao? That will cause simplex to just bust out. That'll just cause it busting out. I'm not saying you're doing any of that. I'm just asking to make sure in case there's something you have done and you haven't caught it. And then have you tried the simplex protocol in here? You can take to your practitioner, your family doctor, whatever it is. But have you seen that? So in Cleanse to Heal, simplex protocol. So check that out. Maybe give that a try. And that's what I would recommend a family member, a friend. You can always talk to your doctor about it. So even though you're eating really clean, no chocolate, right? Because chocolate is the herpes instigator. Simplex is Epstein bars. It's a trigger. It's a trigger. It's a trigger. I mean, a little bit of chocolate once in a blue moon, fine, or whatever, in a recipe once in a while. But people do a lot of chocolate, so you got to just be careful on those kinds of things. Marissa Anderson, thanks for being here. Just received my life-changing foods book. Love it and love you. You're a human angel from above. Hey, that's a beyond a compliment. That's a beyond a nice compliment. Thank you so much. By the way, there's a subtitle question too. Please have subtitles. I enjoy reading your books. Unfortunately, I can't hear you. There are subtitles here on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. And I'm honored you're here. Truly. You guys, I'm really proud of all of you, by the way, for all you're doing. Fletchla says, what causes your hair or scalp to hurt? A lot of neurotoxins cause that. That's one thing that occurs. So any kind of neurotoxins can cause that. Any kind of low-grade viral infection. Shingles is a big one for that, for hair and scalp to hurt, or not hair, but scalp. Yeah, I mean, hair too, to the scalp area. So that can easily do that when you have low-grade viral infection. So, I mean, what I would do if my scalp was hurting like that, I would be for sure making sure there's no milk, cheese, butter, eggs, making sure there's no apple cider vinegar or vinegar, making sure that's out of your diet, making sure there's no nutritional yeast, making sure there's no corn or soy. Just try to eliminate those first. No pork. And I know that's a lot. I know that's a lot. But I would do that just to move the needle, get the celery juice in, see if it starts breaking down any low-grade viral stuff. And talk to your doctor. I mean, and say, hey, look, medical medium has helped a lot of doctors, and he tells doctors about the fact that low-grade viral stuff hurts the scalp because those are nerves, and any kind of nerves means neurotoxins. You could talk to a practitioner about that. The light bulb might hit over their head, and they might then help and support you to what you're doing. Tiana says, Anthony, please talk about ears ringing. I talk about that in Cleanse to Heal. Look, I'm not trying to push a book on you. Just go to the library, get it for free if you want. Everything's free. You can get it on Amazon, sure, and it's on sale there, like a Wicked sale, which is cool for this book. But the ringing in the ears, the information's in there. Tinnitus, the whole bit. It's a low-grade viral infection in the labyrinth of the inner ear, and it gets inflamed and it starts to swell. And that tinnitus can go just crazy. You could get popping, fluttering, buzzing, humming. You could get ringing. You could sound like church bells. I mean, you could sound like sirens, woo, all of it in the ears. And it could get brutal. And it gets worse at the end of the day. It gets worse at night. You know what you should do? Medical Medium Podcast at Apple Podcast. Catch the Neurological Symptoms episode. Don't miss it. If any of you guys haven't heard the 17 episodes, please go and listen. 5 meditations. You can't. I mean, really, it's the information is so packed at the Medical Medium Podcast at Apple Podcast. Alicia Diane says, wish Netflix would do a documentary following your journey. They've asked me for years. That's what I want to talk to you guys about too sometimes. So I'm glad you brought the question up. I've been asked to do TV shows for years, and all the networks, they've always knocked on my door. They want to do the Medical Medium series, the TV series, but I always felt that it wasn't going to be enough about the person. It was going to be just me, my story, my gift. And yeah, I guess if you got a really big ego, that's really a fun thing to do, and I'm not saying I don't have an ego, right? Everybody's got something in them that sparked and says, hey, wait a minute. But I just don't want it to be about me. And that's what happened. I remember over 10 years ago, even a little over 10 years ago, I was asked to do TV shows, meaning my own TV series by networks. And I know many other people would have just jumped on it. And I get asked to this day for Netflix and other docuseries, documentaries, TV shows, all of it. So constantly get asked. And I turn it down. And what do? I mess around on TikTok. I don't know what to say. I turn all those things down. And yeah, those things would give me credibility. They would give me credibility. I realize that. Big production company behind you. Big, hey, let's protect him and put him on one of the channels, one of the big cable networks, his own series. And it would give you credibility, because then probably nobody would mess with you. You probably wouldn't be tried to be messed with or tried to be canceled all the time or tried to be discriminated against. You'd have a big production company over umbrellaing you, and I guess it would give you some credibility. But you know what I do instead? I take my beatings, take my lashings, and I hop on TikTok and do videos. But create the best docuseries style Medical Medium Podcast, Apple Podcast, packed with information, because it really is. And I put out the books. It's funny. Michelle L says, yeah, they're trying to steal your stuff. Of course. Michelle McClellan says, well done on your TikTok. Thanks for answering this live chat. I love your book. Fair play from this Irish girl. Well, thanks for everything, Monica says, I like your humor greatly. Monica, I'm honored. Look, I got a TikTok episode coming out. I think it's going to come out tomorrow. I hope you think it's funny. You never know. Maybe I might not come out tomorrow. I'm not sure when. It's a video, actually. Let's see. Leah Renee says, any ideas for stomach paralysis, gastroparesis, anything like that? It depends if you're still eating, if you're not on a feeding tube. If you're on a feeding tube, there's other techniques and stuff. But if you're actually eating and you're not on a feeding tube or anything, I personally like for gastroparesis the different mono-eating cleanses here. Celery juice is also important too. I talk about that. But the mono-eating cleanses are great. The heavy metal detox smoothie, getting heavy metals out can really help. So there's a mono-eating chapter. You can talk to your doctor about it. I help doctors about that all the time with the osteoporosis. Jeanette says, hey, Jeanette, glad you're here. Your info is truth and it shines on its own. Thank you. It does, even though all that muck out there tries to squash it down. Mark O'Neill, love your sense of humor. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, brother. Thanks for being on here, man. I appreciate it, Mark. Catherine King, MM lives are a sacred place. That means the world to me. That means the world to me. So that's incredible. Really does. Seriously. Sheena says, where do I begin on the medical medium book list? Let's start with Cleanse to Heal. And then work your way to the other books. Lorraine L says, no, you actually are real. Hey, Lorraine. Lorraine's you're in the UK, right? Is it UK or I know you're overseas. You're not in the US. Every time I read your comments on YouTube and Facebook and stuff, I think you're I don't know if it's Scotland. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere out there. And I'm probably wrong about that from what I remember. Susan, Janet, listen to his podcast on anxiety. Thank you. It's really a powerful podcast episode. You guys got to hear it. Evelyn Dixon, my daughter has lipomas. How to correct it? First thing about lipomas to understand, lipomas eat. They're hungry. They have these little tentacles coming off of them, blood vessels. So if you got a lipoma, say you got a lipoma, and it's there, a fatty tumor, it's a fatty growth. It's got these little blood vessels, and these blood vessels, they draw up food. They draw up food to keep the lipoma growing, right? Keep it alive. And what happens is, if you're eating eggs, it's just going to feed the lipoma. If you're eating cheese and milk and butter, it's going to feed the lipoma. Gluten feeds the lipoma. So when you're eating that food, it goes into the lipoma. So get those foods out for sure to start with. That's one thing you want to do, truly. Nathan Haynes. Nathan, glad to be here. Glad to be here with you, man. Love your work, legend. Hey, legend. That's cool. Keep the light shining. Thank you. Hey, that's cool. You know, when I was a child, it's like, never thought someone would call me a legend someday. Fabi says, Anthony, I was wondering if you could talk about or do an episode for pregnant women or women and they would like to get pregnant is very important instead of taking prenatal vitamins. Yes, I'm going to do a pregnancy episode. I have to get these podcast episodes done. I did 17 of them and I haven't even scratched the surface. Meanwhile, they're packed with information. So much to do. Denise says, we love you. Honored that you care. You care about the purpose. You care about what we're trying to do. Spirit, Compassion, and I get the information out regardless of adversity constantly. I mean, if you guys knew the crap medical medium has been through. All for what, right? Didn't do anything besides trying to reverse illness and sickness, make sure people get their lives back, which is the most important thing. Get people off of Mattress Island and Couch Island. But because that's critical. It's critical to do that. Critical. You guys, anybody who just got on here, I'm going on TikTok. I'm going to be making dinner. I just got to go to IG first, but then, and then go to TikTok to make dinner and answer questions thoroughly. Deborah, can you please say more about osteoporosis? Yeah, osteoporosis, really bad cases of it, including, stenosis that come with it, including other things too, just ankylosing spondylitis, including all these different things that occur. Osteoporosis being like really popular, that's being like one that so many people have. A lot of times people lose their calcium from years of vinegar, from years of caffeine, from years of acidosis. That's a big piece of it. So they lose their calcium. So when you do vinegars, your calcium just sucks right out of your bones and teeth, all of it. So keep that in mind, no vinegars. Keep that in mind, no caffeine. And then leafy greens. Leafy greens are critical. So like spinach, like medical medium spinach soups and the medical medium healing broth every day if you want. Hey, Trisha Marie's here. Just saw that comment come up. Incredible. So glad you're here. Oranges are important. Citrus is critical for osteoporosis, like oranges, grapefruits, lemons. Those are so important for osteoporosis, you guys. So important. It's a big deal. Because that's where the calcium is. The calcium's there. Broccoli is important too, but But really, the citrus is a big deal because calcium's deep in the earth, and the citrus trees, the roots go deep into the earth, and they grow in places that are high in calcium. So really important. Really important. So going to TikTok, just so you guys know, but I'm not going to TikTok quite yet, almost there. I just got to go and make a quick stop at IG, let everybody know I'm going to TikTok, going to make kale salad, the whole bit. Jennifer Sprindley says, yes, please do a pregnancy one. Okay, I will get a Medical Meeting podcast pregnancy one in the works. Wyla Green said, would love to do podcast on you and your life. I want to do that, Wyla, I do, but you know, I worry that everybody's going to say, hey, he's making it about him. So I'm going to be answering questions thoroughly on TikTok, like really thoroughly answering questions on TikTok. So I'm letting you know that's what I'm going to be doing. Thoroughly asking questions. It's really like an educational session too. You get your pens out kind of thing. It's pretty intense. And I'm going to be making dinner and making food, kale salad. How cool is that? Maybe some other stuff. Potatoes. Going to have some potatoes today. I can't wait. Olivia says, how much salt do you think is okay daily? Make sure you don't do too much. Depending on if you're feeling sick and you got problems with anything like that, I would stick to celery juice, spinach soups, keep the salt away, use lemon on everything, have some tomatoes in your food, and that's the kind of salt intake that's natural. That's really incredible for you. And I would keep back on the salt, but if you're somebody that really loves salt, just try to do a little bit. Then if you don't feel so bad, you're not struggling. Susie King, I have TikTok but can't find you. Okay, TikTok.com /@medicalmedium. TikTok.com /@medicalmedium. Link is in the description. Try that. Hopefully that gets you there because I want to have you there. Anyway, you guys, I am going to IG and we're going to do a couple minutes on there and let's go. Is Trisha Marie going to be there? Because that's what she does. She goes from there and then she goes to IG. Anyway, you guys, I'll see you on IG if you come over.